Biden's State of the Union 2023, Biden has good news, but Americans are in a bad mood. This post is a part of a blog series called Biden's State of the Union 2023, in which Brookings scholars provide an overview of the topics and ideas that President Biden should cover in his second annual State of the Union address. Like previous presidents, Joe Biden will probably highlight his accomplishments and positive news in his State of the Union address. A 52-year low for the jobless rate? That will undoubtedly be on the list. Declining inflation? Oh, yes. When will the public health crisis end in May? Finally. Return of manufacturing to the U.S. Passage of the CHIPS bill, which will protect the U.S. from future shortages of computer chips and supply interruptions. The Infrastructure Investment Act will make highways and airports more streamlined. The Inflation Reduction Act has allocated funds to address climate change. But despite this, Americans are generally depressed. In 8 out of 9 recent polls, more than 70% of respondents said that America was on the wrong track, according to an NBC poll that questioned people whether they thought the country was headed in the right direction or not. According to the most recent poll, 71% of Americans think the country is headed in the wrong direction. In the survey's 30-plus year history, NBC News poll has never before documented this degree of continuous pessimism. Other polls have also revealed same negative attitude. For instance, a Pew survey revealed that 78% of Americans were unhappy with the way the nation was heading. Why? Of course, there are a wide range of potential causes. Inflation is a particularly challenging political issue, as Bill Galston and I have already stated in these pages. Every day, voters are reminded of the fact that the recession, the treatment, is typically worse than the illness. People are hesitant to think that government expenditure can solve many problems due to decades of poor public trust in the government. The pandemic has caused disruption even though it is now receding. Due to the increase in violent crime, many residents now feel insecure in their own communities. But there's another reason why the nation might be feeling down right now. It goes as follows. America is changing, and some don't like change. Many Americans lament the loss of their national identity. Many of them are only unhappy with the changes they have witnessed during their lives. They are not all white nationalists or racists. America is no longer a predominantly Christian, white country. 88.1% of Americans in 1910, the beginning of the 20th century, were white. This percentage gradually decreased over the ensuing 70 years to 79.6%, down 8.5%. However, the percentage of white people in the population fell far more quickly in the following 40 years, from 1980 to 2020, by 20.8 percentage points. Only 58.8% of the population was white as of the 2020 election. This decline has a clear generational component, according to my colleague William Frey, a demographer. Most notable is the youngest segment of the population's rising diversity. For the first time, in 2019, more than 50% of those under 16 in the country identified as members of a racial or ethnic minority. In this category, persons who identify as Latino or Hispanic and Black collectively make up over 40% of the population. The racial diversity of the country, which was already anticipated to flow upward from the younger to older age groups, appears to be accelerating in light of the greater expected growth of all non-white racial minority groups relative to whites, as well as their younger age structure. America's diversification has significant political and economic repercussions. Many members of these minority groups are still trapped in long-standing cycles of oppression, discrimination, and helplessness, while others are growing up and taking up leadership roles. We have had a black female Supreme Court justice, a black female vice president, and a black female president. The increasing representation of minorities in advertising is unsettling to many Americans in a similar way. Political correctness is not something that advertisers care about. Whether it's butter or vehicles, they want to increase the market share for their product in the future. When older Americans observe younger generations, they fail to recognize themselves. And the younger generations wonder why these old white men are still in power when they look at many of the people in positions of authority. It seems sense that people in a nation where things are generally going well remain mired in pessimism, with supporters of opposing political parties convinced that the other is trying to ruin the America they know. Although non-white Americans are often more upbeat and believe the nation is headed in the right direction than white Americans, both groups share a general pessimism about the future. There is no policy fix for this issue, it is mostly a generational and cultural issue. Politicians can work to smooth out the edges, as Biden will do, or amplify people's resistance to change, as Trump has done and is now doing. However, two pessimistic perspectives of America will coexist until this cycle of change is over. That's today's latest news. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment so that this channel can continue to exist. Thank you for listening to the end and I hope it's useful.